Allegiance of the United States of America, which stands one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Just a reminder to turn your mics on.
Roll call. Commissioner O'Brien is here. Commissioner Dawn Marie Autry
Here.
and Commissioner Brian Debley.
Present.
We have a quorum. Special presentation and or announcements. A planning commission staffing clarification and handoff.
So several of you have asked why Juliana hasn't been here the past couple of meetings. And so this is just an announcement to clarify that I am taking over the management of the Planning Commission. So any questions regarding any agenda items or anything related to the Planning Commission can go through me, and you should have my contact information, but I can also follow up with you if you don't.
Well, first of all, I'd like to apologize to the rest of the commission members for my absence the last 2 months. And but I was otherwise engaged. So I'm back.
We understand.
He's back.
We understand.
Public comments. Public participation is welcomed and invited at all planning commission meetings regarding issues or matters not on the agenda, but still within the jurisdiction of the Planning Commission of Yreka. If your comments contain an item noted on the agenda, please address the Planning Commission when that item is open for public comment. The city requests that persons addressing the Planning Commission refrain from making personal, slanderous, profane, or disruptive remarks. Planning commissioners, when recognized by the chair, may ask clarifying questions of presenter, but no action may be taken by the Planning Commission during the public comment section of the meeting. Under the Brown Act, the Planning Commission is prohibited from discussing or taking action on any item not listed on the posted agenda. This time is set aside for residents to address the Planning Commission on matters listed on the consent agenda, as well as other items not included on the agenda. If your comments contain an item listed under the public hearing, old or new business sections of the agenda, please address the commission when that item is open for public comment. Please speak into the microphone from the podium. The podium electronically adjusts up and down to accommodate the speaker. Please state your name for the record prior to providing your comments. Please address the commissioners as a whole. If you have documents to present, please provide a minimum of 7 copies. These become a public record. Please limit your remarks to 3 minutes. Since the Planning Commission is unable to take action on issues not on the agenda, your matter may be referred to staff for follow-up or be placed on a future agenda. Public comments period is not intended to be a question and answer period or conversations with the planning commissioners or city staff. Consent agenda. All matters listed under the consent.
Peter, can I pause you? Does anyone have a public comment?
Sorry, I always forget. Any public comments? No. Consent agenda. All matters listed under the consent agenda are considered routine and non-controversial and will be enacted by one motion unless any member of the Planning Commission wishes to remove an item for discussion. Next is the approval of the minutes of the regular meeting held June 19th, 2024. Do we have a motion?
Also moved.
I'll second.
All right, I approve as well, so we have the measure is passed 3-0.
I think we have to do roll call. Oh, okay. Never mind.
Public hearing, none. All business. Proposed film ordinance discussion. A continuation of the discussion of planning staff's proposed film ordinance. Previous versions of the proposed film ordinance were presented to the Planning Commission for review and discussion at the March 20th and June 19th, 2024 regular meeting. Recommended Planning Action Commission. Recommend the proposed film ordinance as presented at the June 19th regular meeting to City Council for adoption.
So I do just want to make a correction for the record to that recommended Planning Commission action to remove the part that says at the June 19th regular meeting, because we do have a new revision tonight since that meeting. So the last time was the first revision of the film ordinance. And tonight I've incorporated your comments from that meeting into the second revision, which is this secondary document before you. And the second revision did not make it into the planning agenda tonight. So just wanted to clarify that before we get into it. Are there any questions about that? Okay, so Commissioner O'Brien, I know that you missed the last couple of meetings where we discussed the film ordinance, so feel free to stop me at any point if you have any clarifying questions. My plan tonight is to address some of the questions that you asked at the last meeting and discuss the revisions that were made and next steps. So one of the concerns at our last meeting was a concern around people making personal videos for their small businesses to promote their own businesses or brands. Commissioner Devlin, you mentioned, I believe your niece
No, just
or
somebody.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
she's a young lady here in town, takes pictures at Little League, it's could affect her charging to do that.
So I just want to clarify that I didn't revise the ordinance with those comments because those activities would not necessarily shut down any public right-of-ways or affect the public. The purpose of this ordinance is to regulate those commercial filming activities that do shut down roads or sidewalks or otherwise kind of impact the public in some way. But
So in the ordinance, the film ordinance that's in effect right now, that's already part of our municipal code. It states the purpose that it is basically just filming that is taking place on city property, city-owned properties. And we've expanded that now to anywhere in the city. I'm just wondering why it's necessary to expand. Like I read through that the existing municipal code we have. So we can already deal with somebody coming in asking for a film permit. We already have a mechanism to do that. I'm wondering why all the additional is necessary at this point. I mean, we've made changes. It just seems it's broad, it's overreaching, it's for big cities. We have unmanned aerial ordinance pieces in here. Where if we're gonna have drone ordinances, there's maybe 20 cities in the state that have some kind of ordinance. Like city of San Francisco, they only limit drone activity to certain parks. Like you can't fly there. But here we have, if you're gonna fly a drone, you have to have a business permit or registration with the city. I don't even know what registration with the city means. Can I just register my business with the city and skip a license? So that's, I mean, I know we've made a lot of changes. I just don't see why it's necessary at this time to have a broad, broadening of the ordinance in such a wide reaching terms.
Okay, I'm gonna try to address what you said, but if I forget anything, feel free to remind me. But so kind of the broad purpose of this is an exercise with you all, as kind of a way to update a film ordinance, or update an ordinance and establish a process for that, because in the next couple of months and years, we will be going through higher stakes updates to these ordinances. So it's kind of to set a process for that. And to your point about why are we expanding the reach of the ordinance, to go from public property to beyond public property, is that, for example, sometimes events even, or like filming events that are being filmed on private property can still impact traffic or zoning in other ways. And for example, it is part of our special events ordinance to sort of oversee events on private property just to make sure that they won't impact zoning in certain ways. So hopefully that makes sense. And we sort of discussed this last time, but it does give the city more oversight onto these filmings. And you're right that there isn't a lot of filming activity that comes through the city of Yreka. But when it does, we do want to be prepared, because there have been bigger name pictures filmed in the county, for example. And to your question about drones, we did bring that kind of up to standard for Federal Aviation Administration requirements. And so that section mostly addresses those requirements and requirements for a city business license in order to operate those well, that would be part of the commercial film production license.
So you charge for a filming permit, and then if somebody attached to that filming permit is gonna fly a drone, instead of saying, we want to see your FAA certification to make sure it's legal for you to fly that drone, we're saying, no, you're now a business in the city of Yreka and you have to pay an additional fee. And then it says for registration, but I don't know what that registration is. It says a valid city business license and or registration. So that's item 6 of 5.06.07A6.
So I can clarify that a drone operator could fall under a commercial film production filming license, and and clarify that the registration would be in compliance with federal law.
Right. I I mean, I think all of this could be streamlined and and changed up. I'm just trying to figure out why our current ordinance is not good enough. Where does it fall short? Because I think under the ordinance we have, we basically take care of everything that's in this ordinance.
So the previous ordinance did fall short of kind of what the industry standard is right now and didn't have a lot of protections for the city. For example, for post-production activities, a requirement to kind of leave the space as it was previously, and a requirement or the update would allow the city to kind of looking for a word, but charge for city staff time dedicated, required to process these filming permits and oversee them. And it just gives the city more authority to regulate the filming so that bigger industries don't come in and kind of capitalize on the city and take advantage of the resources here.
So you were saying that the city is trying to make the ordinance more comprehensive. Well, whereas Commissioner Devlin is saying it's already comprehensive.
We're
That
already
your right?
regulated. At a point, we're over-regulated. And adding all this additional, when we have a mechanism to take care of a film permit of a production company that hasn't applied for a permit in a city that hasn't had a film here in 20 years, seems like we could be working on different ordinances. And I mean, I've spent the time, I went through what you've written, and it's, I mean, it's comprehensive, but to my core, I don't think we're under-regulated. I mean, I think we're already over-regulated. So to add more, I just want to know why we would do that.
What about
at
the
this
question of drones? Does
And then,
that-
yeah, so in a drone ordinance should be probably separate from this. But that whole have a business license when you're not a business, but you're just attached to a film permit that you've already paid for, or register with the city. Now, does that give every business in the city the option just to register as a business instead of pay for a business license? I don't even understand that part.
Can you repeat that last part about the business license?
Yeah, so it says either be a business, have a business license, or registration with the city.
So I will say that the business license aspect is more of a finance question, not a question for this commission. So tonight,
What's the registration with the city? Like, how does that work?
so that is a good point, and I do plan on clarifying that that is like a Federal Aviation Administration registration for those drones in compliance with federal law.
So that, yeah, so you'll take that language out as far as register as a business license.
I can clarify, yes, that the drone operating license can fall within the commercial film production license, if that's what you would like to propose.
Yeah, I don't mean to be difficult, but I'm just like, it's well written. I know you've spent a lot of time doing this and looking at other cities and what they've done, but I'm just not sure that, you know, after reading what we already have in place, that this is necessary. Like, is this a necessary exercise? Or maybe we do an ordinance that allows contractors with permits to get temporary water meters. That seems like that would be a productive ordinance. This is something that in my time in Yreka may never happen.
You were saying there's never been a filming here.
I think there's
For
one
20
or two in the city of Yreka in the last 20 years from residents or people I know that have had to deal with filming in the city of Yreka. It's just not a thing. So,
Yeah, again, the business license and the public works comment isn't within the purview of this commission. And this is a preemptive exercise for filming for if and when a film production company does come through. And so we really just, oh, sorry.
I'll just with like, I mean, I think everybody kind of knows where I stand. And
Yeah.
if this is to move this forward, I think we should, you know, unless you have questions or comments or whatever, we should probably go vote and either move this forward or not.
Yeah.
Have an issue with the fees. I would like it to be just something. I don't want it to be arbitrary. I don't want it to be so high that no one is interested in coming and filming here because this is a tourist town. You know, if we get our name out, that will help our tourism. And so I don't want the fees to be extraordinarily high, and I understand that the council decides how high they are. But if the council understands that we would like them to be, you know, small, reasonable, then I'm sure the council will take that into consideration instead of make it be so high that no one's gonna want to come here ever.
Is there any consideration of how much the fees will be?
So I know I sound like a broken record at this point, but fees aren't relevant to the planning aspect of the film permit. So that would, you're right, that would be up to
Right.
the city council discretion. And in terms of fee structure, that doesn't come into the process until the ordinance is adopted. Then the policies and procedures would be drafted and proposed to council as another item after the adoption of the ordinance itself. And then staff would draft the policy proposals and the fee schedule.
It seems the problem with the choice is passing it or rejecting it. And then rejecting it would open another can of worms. It seems to me.
So
We already have an ordinance in place.
Yeah, and you said that. You've made that quite clear. Commissioner Devlin thinks we don't need this. It's unnecessary. I don't know what you obviously think it's unnecessary. I don't know whether Commissioner Alter thinks the same.
I would be happy to go through again and highlight the areas that the proposed ordinance addresses that the current ordinance does not, things like safety.
Comparison.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah, and so we did do that at the last meeting, but I would be happy to do that again and do it more in depth if you have more comments. I can also bring all of your comments to council and let them know your concerns with the proposal of the updated film ordinance.
So what would our passage be of that? We can hand it back to you.
So the recommended tonight would be to recommend this version, this second revision, to the city council for adoption.
What does Commissioner Devlin think?
I'm not gonna,
You're not going to pass it.
yeah, I mean, if you want to put it to a vote, I'm ready to vote.
And just a point of order, you do need to open this item up for public comment if anyone would like to.
All right, we can open it up for public comment. Are there any comments?
Yes, Lorenzo Love. I brought this up last meeting. I have a tiny business. I do street sales during Gold Rush days and other street fairs, and sometimes I film it. It's not a personal video. It's for commercial use. I put it on YouTube. It's to promote my business. Now, you say it doesn't affect traffic or anything, so it doesn't count. That's not in here. So I could be filming my tiny little business, and the code enforcement officer could come by and cite me for not having a filming license. It's not just me. What if Tractor Supply is filming a commercial on their grounds, doesn't affect traffic? You say that doesn't require a filming permit because it doesn't affect traffic. It doesn't affect anyone else. Even if they have a professional film crew come in and do it. What if North Cal wants to film a recruitment video? Same thing. If it's on their ground and it doesn't affect anyone else, they don't require it. So who's to say what doesn't affect anyone else? I mean, the film crew driving in is on the streets. That's an effect. So this does not say, oh, sometimes you don't need it and sometimes you do. You need to clarify who needs this and not regulate people to death with this. Thank you.
Well, I think we should put it to the vote. Ah,
Is this automatically lower?
it says it does. Ah.
Yeah. That's just fine. Okay, my name is Yolanda O'Brien. Yeah, and just to clarify, for no conflict of interest, yes, the chair is my husband, but I wasn't at the previous meetings. And so what I'm seeing is on the drone issue was that it just needs to clarify that the drones have to have FAA registration. You need to put that down so that folks don't get confused because the FAA is regulating drones. The fee problem lies with the city council, so that's not a problem. I can see where the firearm safety has to be looked at, considering what happened to in Arizona. I think it was Arizona where the camera lady was accidentally killed. So that should definitely be included in here. But I think sometimes if we leave something overbroad, it can leave the city at liability. So sometimes you need to clarify and restrict certain things. That's my opinion. Anyway, that's it.
Well, I think we should come to a vote. Commissioner Altry? The motion is the proposed film ordinance recommended, the proposed film ordinance instruction presented for adoption. Commissioner Altry?
I believe that it does need to state what is and is not allowed. You know, if it's just a backyard filmer, that's allowed. If it's someone doing Gold Rush Days, gonna put it on YouTube, and it's not gonna impede the traffic in any way, that is allowed. I believe it needs to say that. That way, we don't get hooked up later on with a bunch of technicalities. It's black and white in the law. I like that. I don't like it when it's not in the law. And again, I definitely want a recommendation in here from us, for it to be a small fee, not just a ginormous fee. I understand that we might have MGM come and they could pay millions of dollars, but are they going to bring us tourism worth millions of dollars? So, yeah.
So you,
And in that, I'm gonna say I want the stuff brought back. So I'm gonna say no.
Commissioner Devlin,
Nay.
and I will say nay too. So the nays have it 3-0. So we need to put it,
It's a 0-2 vote for motion to recommend adoption to city council, and there's one suggestion for a motion to bring the item at a future meeting. So just for point of order, there was no second to your motion, Commissioner O'Brien or Chair O'Brien. So right now you guys are still in discussion.
I'm sorry, say that again.
Sorry, just a point of order. So you had made a motion to recommend adoption of the proposed film ordinance to city council. There was no second. And you and Commissioner Devlin are actually a nay for that motion. Commissioner Autry was suggesting a motion to return the item to the next meeting with your comments on it. So if the commission could clarify the action that you're taking, that would be great.
So Commissioner Devlin and Commissioner O'Brien will reject,
Okay.
vote nay.
Chairman, can you re-motion and then look for a second and then we can vote again?
So,
You guys don't need to do that. I mean.
I think I understand that you
Well, I
do,
think-
you're not in favor of the current.
No, I
Current
get it,
proposal.
but Ms. Autry at the end was a nay,
Yeah.
not a.
Okay, you did say nay. So
Yeah.
you've,
I
okay.
did say
yes,
nay.
we all said nay.
Okay, so the motion, well, so there was no second for your motion to adopt. What I would recommend is you make a motion to reject the proposed film ordinance.
Right. I'll make a proposal to reject the film ordinance, this action. Could I have a second?
I'll second that.
Your second, Commissioner Devlin?
Nay.
So there are 3 nays.
Well, you would be an aye. That's a double negative if you nay a reject. So just to clarify for the record, the motion is to reject the proposed film ordinance by Commissioner O'Brien, second by Commissioner Autry. All are in favor of that.
Aye.
We good? Okay, thank you.
Aye.
New business? No?
Do we want, sorry to interrupt, do we want to address Commissioner Autry's request to bring the item back for future discussion?
So the motion to reject the proposed film ordinance would close the item.
Okay,
Yep.
thank you.
So we're proposing the Commissioner Autry's proposal to bring it back for further discussion.
No, so
It's
yeah,
dead. It's dead. Dead eye.
you're good.
Yeah.
On to new business.
New business? No. Future planning items, future agenda items, action items, and presentations to the planning commission that may occur within the next 90 days. All dates are tentative and subject to change if needed. Well, so I propose we adjourn. Next meeting, August 21st. 6 p.m.
Thank you.
It's because you heard, I don't, those of you that you're ready to run out the door. Look at it. Look at him, yeah, he is.